Hello Forkies, today we'll play another training game here on Lichess. So here we go. We'll play 10 plus 5 rapid game as I mentioned and we'll try to win of course. So here we go. We have the white pieces against a 1900 rated player. So here we go. I play the move e4, my opponent played the move e5 and now knight to f3 is the best move, simply attacking the e5 pawn, and after knight to c6 this is the most common chess position after two moves. And now bishop to b5 is the main move. This is known as the Ruy Lopez or Spanish game. Of course, pressuring the c6 knight and maybe in some positions threatening to take the knight and then take the e5 pawn. So here we go. a6 is the best move. And after bishop to a4, there are many options. You can play d6, knight f6, bishop c5 is a move as well, and we'll see what our opponent will do. Okay, knight to f6, the main line, and after we castle, knight takes e4 is an open Spanish. Okay, bishop to c5, this is some sort of Archangelsk variation. Now c3 is the best, trying to play d4 and attack the bishop, and knight takes e4 is not a good move. Why not? Because maybe queen to e2, maybe d4 right away, followed by rook to e1. Taking this pawn is not very good. And this move, pawn to b5, is not very good. Why not? Of course, attacking the bishop. But when we play the move pawn to c3, we can play bishop to c2 right away, and we defend our e4 pawn, and we have the improved closed Spanish here. And when a6 and b5 are on the board, we will play a4 in some positions as well. So our opponent just castled, and I think the best move in the position is probably to play the move pawn to d4 here, but maybe knight takes e5 is very interesting move as well. But in Ruy Lopez positions, knight takes e5 is never really good. So I think d4 has to be the correct move. Okay, after d4, e4, cd4, we have much better position. So probably after d4, bishop to b6 has to be played. Although then e5 pawn is weak, so d4 has to be the correct move. And I will try to explain as much as I can. Okay, he took the d4 pawn, and maybe we can throw in this move firstly, but I don't think this is very good because after knight g4, yeah, let me just take this pawn and then maybe play the move e5 myself. And now, of course, there is even bishop to b4. Okay, bishop b6 probably the best move. But what about d5 here? d5, knight to e7, I guess. Then e5, perhaps. Wow, this looks very good. Okay, but then there is this move, knight to b4 here. I see a beautiful tactic. Oh, wow. Does it work? e5 followed by knight to d5, and then we sacrifice the bishop. Yes. Wow. Wow. I think this actually works. There. Doesn't work because of bishop h7 and then winning the knight. I will show you all the variations I'm calculating after the game. So e5 has to be the correct move, followed by amazing bishop takes h7 tactic. I think this position has to be much better for us. Okay, I will calculate it in my head quickly. Bishop h7, king h7, knight g5. If he goes there, then we have queen to h5. How is he defending the h7 checkmate idea? He is not. f6, there is still checkmate. Okay, bishop h7, king h7, knight g5, king to g6. But then I have this move, queen d3, which is almost checkmate. Yes, this will. Yes, this has to be much better, and he cannot take the bishop, I guess. bishop takes h7 check, and we will win the game smoothly, I guess. From here on, yes, but this cannot work, king h8. But now knight to g5, if f6, I play there. Threatening mate, of course. Knight g5 has to be the correct move. And he has to sacrifice the queen, I guess. Knight g5, if maybe g6. G6 has to be the correct move in this position. But then I simply play, what do I play? G6, queen g4. He still cannot take. There, g6, queen g4. If he takes, I play queen h4 and win the game smoothly, I guess. Then I still have this sacrifice. This has to be winning, right? Knight to g5. I think knight to g5 has to be the correct move here. And we are much better after knight to g5. Knight g5, yes. G6, queen g4. I don't see a defense to the knight to g5 idea. And of course we'll play queen to h5 if not g6 happens. And if g6 is... Wow, this has to lose in one move. What? f6 cannot work. Wow, our opponent blundered. Let's go. Queen to h5 followed by bishop to g6 check and queen to h7 check mate. Here we go. Queen to h5. Just checking if everything is correct. Queen to h5 checkmate in 3 moves, I guess. 1, 2, 3. Or maybe is this checkmate in 2 moves? I'm not sure how the evaluation works. But of course there is no knight to g7. There is no knight to f6. If he takes, then bishop g6 followed by queen to h7 checkmate. Here we go. We played an amazing game. We have a winning position after only 13 moves. So very good. Okay, he took the g5 knight, and now we play this deadly move. Bishop to g6 checkmate. Next move. And after king to g8, this is very known motif. This bishop covers the f7 square and we deliver the checkmate with the move queen to h7 checkmate. Let's go, we win the game, and our rating is 20 to 101 if I'm exact. And here we go, we won in 15 moves. So let's go, analysis board. I will analyze the game for you and I will tell you what I was thinking. And this game was very nice. Of course, e4 first move, controlling the d5 and the f5 squares, trying to play d4 next move if allowed, and after e5, of course, preventing the idea with the move pawn to d4. We played the most common move, knight to f3, and after knight to c6, the best move in the position is to play bishop to b5, the Ruy Lopez or the Spanish game, just pressuring the c6 knight and then maybe even threatening to play knight takes e5 in some positions, and a6 is the best move, more for defense if I'm exact, and after bishop a4, not going for any exchange variation of the Ruy Lopez, bishop a4 is the best move, and after knight to f6, just putting pressure on our e4 pawn. Now there are only 2 options for white, either to castle or to play the move pawn to d3, Hikaru Nakamura's favorite move in the Ruy Lopez. Here is to play the move pawn to d3, but I like to castle here, I like classical Ruy Lopez, and after bishop to c5, which is a big inaccuracy if I'm not mistaken. Although this is still theory, I like bishop e7 the more because d6 will be played and this bishop on c5, as you will see, after c3 and d4 will be hit from our pawn and we will have much bigger center than in bishop to e7 variations. But I played the move c3, of course, very good move, and b5 is the theory, I've forgotten that, and after bishop c2 still very okay position. Now d5 has to be played. I don't know these variations very good, but okay, what happens after d5? After d5, we play d4 anyway, and after d takes e4, this is very tricky position. After knight e4, 95, excuse me, after d5, queens get off the board, and then after knight g4, bishop e4, attacking the rook, and after knight takes f2, wow, this is very complicated position. After king e7, there is this move, rook to d5, and this is so sick. Now we take the rook, and we have okay position. Wow, I don't know this position. I don't know nothing about it. But okay, after pawn to c3, my opponent played the move b5, bishop c2 as I mentioned, and now d5 is the best move, but my opponent simply castled, and this was a big mistake. And after, let me just turn on the engine evaluation, now I am plus 1.4, that means almost winning. So d4 is the best move, and bishop to b6 or bishop to d6 are the best moves, but my opponent took the pawn, and now I'm completely winning. e5 was much better, and of course after 95 then to take the pawn, but I don't know what the difference is. I took here, and of course, yes, I'm allowing bishop to e7, but my opponent played the move bishop to b6, and now this crazy idea, e5. This is so good. And after knight to e8, we sacrifice the bishop. And after here, if king were to take, this would be after knight to g5, king g8. We have to play queen to h5, threatening mate, and after queen to g5, bishop g5, we have a winning position. We have a queen and a pawn for two minor pieces, and much better position. So of course after knight to e8, this tactical motive is known as the Greek Gift Sacrifice. Of course, bishop h7, king h7, and knight g5, followed by queen h5, is known as the Greek Gift Sacrifice. But my opponent played the move king to h8, probably the best option, and now knight to g5 wasn't the best, but bishop e4 was slightly better, but okay, knight to g4, knight to g5, excuse me, and now there is only one move that black can play in order not to get checkmated. This is the move pawn to g6, but my opponent played the move f6, allowing queen h5 with a mate in 2. So after takes, I played bishop g6, of course threatening queen h7 checkmate. So here we go, I won the game. And what would happen if my opponent played the move g6? I was intending to play queen to g4, and after knight g7, best move, I play queen h3, and after d5, attacking the queen, I would probably play e6, yes, and after knight to h5 is the best move here, what? And I can take, and then take, of course, logical, and then I fork both black's pieces and win the game smoothly. But of course my opponent made a mistake by playing the move f6, and I won the game with a beautiful checkmate. So if you liked the video, make sure to subscribe to follow more such content, and see you guys in another video.